Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boulevard. I'm your host, Maya Burney, and today I get to interview another successful alumni from Belmont, Peri Barnhill. Welcome!
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Hello.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy we were able to figure this out. This is so literally perfect.
It feels like I'm back in Nashville.
Yay! First, we're going to do a very traditional Belmont fashion. Can you give me a name, major, hometown?
I'm Perry. I was a musical theater major, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
So, for musical theater majors, I know that this is a pretty good spot to be, but I also know that there's a lot of different musical theater schools across the country. Why did you choose Belmont?
It was this crazy auditioning experience to get into college.
Hmm.
I can't imagine what it is now, but when I was auditioning all that time ago, I think I auditioned for like 11 different schools around the
Oh my
country, trying to
goodness.
figure out where to go because I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But, each program, it's like, 10 people in a class.
Mm.
So it's very selective. And so I was lucky enough to get into Belmont.
Hmm.
And I was in between a school in Chicago and a school in Nashville. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be freezing cold in the winters. And like, I really like the professors at Belmont. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, I'm going to do Belmont.
So, going in with musical theater, like you said, it's kind of a difficult process to major in musical theater because you have to do all these interviews and stuff. Why did you choose musical theater to be your major, knowing that it was going to be a very difficult major to get into and everything?
I mean, oh my gosh, Maya, I think it was like I had no other choice. It's that thing that you love and that you want to do. And, it just kind of spoke to me. And it was
Mm.
the only thing that was really, speaking to me in that way where I was like, no, I think that's what I want to do. And maybe someone should have told like 18-year-old me, like, maybe, the money isn't that great at the start. So maybe you should look at something else and then do that as a side hobby. But no one ever said that to me. They're all like, yeah, do it. That sounds great. So, yeah, so I just kind of kept going with it.
What is something that like you've taken, you feel like from your time here at Belmont into your professional career?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I took so many great classes, like in the musical theater program. We're just like overwhelmed with like the curriculum's so great, and
Mm.
like we take so many hard classes, and I learned so much. I'm trying to think of anything like a specific thing. A lot of times the professor of musical theater, Nancy Allen, I'll hear, or she just stepped down, but she's still teaching voice, love her. But she would say this thing, early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. And like every time I go anywhere, I like hear that I hear her voice.
First, could you explain kind of what you do? Like, what is your job?
Cool. So, I mean, right now I'm an out of work actor, which is thrilling. And but I was just in the Dolly Parton musical, and it was so fun. We were there, I was in Nashville for 3 months. It was the out of town tryout, is what they call it in the biz. And it's like they take this show and they put it on its feet for the first time. So it's really just it's being workshopped on a really big level. And then the directors and the creative team are able to see, oh, this is working, this isn't working.
Mm.
And it was a really interesting process to be a part of. And we were still like, while we were in previews, we would rehearse during the day and maybe change a song or cut a song, and then that night put it up on the stage.
What was, if you can say, like the biggest change that you had to learn in like one day?
It honestly, they did such a good job. I mean, before we, made the official change or whatever it was, we went over it maybe 10 times before we did it. So it was all locked in. And I remember one night, I think the hardest change for me, it was lyrically, or the
Mm.
hardest ones, like moving my body, like that made more sense to
Mm-hmm.
change. But it was a lyric, like two sentences that we all had to sing together. And before we all went on stage as the ensemble, we were all like saying the lyrics together, like
Yeah.
chanting it, like this is what we're saying, nobody forget. And then we went out there and we're all like, ah, and did it. But it was just so funny. I remember we're all like, okay, here's what it is. Don't forget it. It was so fun.
What's something that's surprised you about your job right now? Something you didn't really realize maybe while you were in school that would be such a reality of whenever you graduated?
I guess how much fun I would have. It's so fun. And everyone, like, I just had the best experience. Do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Like, that was so true. I just had the best time. And when
Mm.
you're working for Dolly Parton, I mean, it's just crazy. And whoever said don't meet your heroes is like their hero obviously wasn't Dolly Parton, you know? Like it was like she's everything and more of what you think. And it was just like, it was so great. I was like, wow, huh? Dreams do come true. That's crazy.
When did you decide in growing up that you were going to do this? Like you were like, I want to be in musical theater.
For me, I always loved it, but I didn't really know it was something that I could really do as a career until like later before anyone could stop me. You know what I mean? It was like too late, and everyone's like, wait, 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 wait.
Yeah.
Maybe like senior year, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna audition for schools and try and get in and do this.
You were in the ensemble in Dolly Parton musical.
Yes.
Can you explain what an ensemble is for somebody like myself who doesn't super
Yeah,
know
yeah,
and like
yeah.
your guys' roles and things?
It's different for every show, but
Mm.
it's kind of like a group of people, and maybe we come in as different characters throughout the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, for the Dolly show, I was her sister, and
Mm.
then I was a clogger, and then I was like a dresser, in the 80s, and then a reporter. So, just you're playing different roles, supporting the scenes as they move, as the lead characters kind of move through the story. You're supporting all these different scenes and becoming different characters.
Out of all of those different roles throughout the musical, which one was your favorite?
I loved getting to go on as the country clogger in the Opry each time. I mean, it was electric. The big poofy dresses we were wearing, like we
Yes.
looked like little Christmas ornaments, like moving across the stage. It was so fun. And just like bopping around with our giant tulle skirts. It was so fun.
What was the hardest thing for you to learn?
I mean, the discipline of it all
Mm.
and like the patience, and it's just, it's kind of a long road. I mean, I graduated in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and this was my first like real big, professional production. Okay, you really need to stay focused, like remember what you're doing and keep grinding.
What is something that you would say to yourself to get through the hard times?
One thing I do, like if I get a big rejection from something made like, a job I really wanted, or I'm like there was a show that I was like, this is it. This is
Mm.
my like I'm gonna be on Broadway. Like I was like, whatever, so many callbacks in, and then I was in finals. I was like, and I didn't get it.
Mm.
And I remember I was so like, oh, like so gutted.
Mm.
But I gave myself, I was like, okay, you have one day to like feel sad and like
Mm.
really like mourn the loss of this, and then like back on your feet one day. So that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, I'm like, okay, I've got one day, feel your feelings, be, down in the dumps, but then, you got to brush it off and keep going.
That is such good advice, I feel like, for people too who are going into that industry. If you had another like big piece of advice that
hmm
you've learned, what would to like tell people, like what would it be?
Yeah, I guess just invest in yourself and the process. And I think that you have to believe in yourself and you have to have that, like, no, I'm going to make it, I'm going to do it. And you can't, no one should ever crush your hopes or be like, maybe you should be more realistic. I'm never going to tell anyone to do that. I think that they have to really just go all in on themselves and like invest in yourself like you're a business.
Mm.
You're selling your little package of singing, acting, dancing, and like you're a product. Like pretend that you are literal like a Clorox wipe and you're selling this. Like how can
Mm.
you improve it? What like, be proud in what it does. Be like business mindset about the business, but know that your worth isn't tied to it.
First off, thank you so much for joining and like talking to me and everything and coming on this. And then thank you so much for joining us today on Beyond the Boulevard, where I got to interview Peri Barnhill, a successful alum from Belmont. Join us next time to hear from another successful alumni.